You're really live.
All right. I shall call the meeting to order. Roll call. Steve?
Yes.
Lauren? Megan?
Yes.
Doug? Yes. Ken? Approval of agenda. In front of you, you have the agenda. Any additions, subtractions, corrections?
Move approval.
Moved by Steve.
Second.
Second by Megan. Discussion.
Lauren.
Oh, the other one. Sorry. Lauren.
The other one.
Discussion. Hearing none. Steve?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Yes. Citizens forum. At this time, we'll take any input from the community other than those that are currently on the agenda. Hearing none, we'll move on to departmental reports. Sheriff's report. Do we have that here? I can send that over. We like to have a lot of calls this last month.
A lot of vehicles leave town.
We did.
Mine was ransacked, but they didn't have keys.
In your driveway.
At church.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. A lot, just not yours, right? Quite a
The
few.
road just disappeared.
Yeah,
my
for a while.
grandma
I heard that. I heard that just the other day. I had not heard that until like last week.
They found it.
Everything's still in it. And Ryan.
They found it.
Were they taken by the same person? So they were found in different locations.
Well, both of them found that direction. Anything for the sheriff's office from council? Hearing none, we'll go on to the fire reports. They had one call with 7 people, no injuries or accidents, no maintenance, no special events, no future plans, and nothing the city needs to do. Anything for Tony on the fire side? Hearing none, move on to EMS. EMS page out 7, pages responded to 4, certified EMS personnel 1 and 2, fire persons to assist 2, Cambridge to Maxwell 1, monthly training attendance 6, truck check was complete, CQI completed by Stewart County Medical. It doesn't look like any vehicle maintenance needs to be done. The city council, nothing on the city council side. However, I believe we have to vote Joel back on. Is that correct?
Yeah.
He couldn't be on because of vipers, and so it now his waiting period is over for vipers.
So we approved Joel then back on.
Motion made by Doug,
Second.
second by Megan. Discussion. Hearing none. Lauren?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Okay. Also, the fire board, I don't know if we have to make a motion since we already made that during the fire board meeting, but the build out package for the Tahoe did go up in price by $2,000. We also put another $2,000 cover in that purchase for striping and final decals on it as well. So,
The council met as part of the fire board, so it doesn't require council action. But maybe one thing that we do want to do is have the monthly fire report amended, or format changed, instead of just saying how many EMS pages there were for Maxwell, have the number of pages to Indian Creek, the number of pages to Washington Township, and the number of pages to Maxwell, since if that's reported every month, then we wouldn't have to wait extra time at the end of the year to get that information.
So that's for both fire and EMS?
Yes. And they can certainly, for EMS, add the number of pages they respond to for each of those 3 areas, since that is also part of the report.
Anything else for Scott on the EMS side? Library report, we don't have one, but I don't, where was the library open
It's open now.
for the month of?
The last meeting, they had it. Actually, I don't think they had their
Yeah.
regular board meeting.
They were,
They
They
didn't
have
have
it
any in December.
there you go. There's no library report, so we'll move on.
Their next meeting is Thursday.
Public Works, cab is on the snow blower and working well, nothing in the parks. Pumped 1.5 million gallons, sold 1.5 million gallons. Old water radios have stopped working on January 1st, working on getting the rest changed out. Sewer was pumped about 1.6 million gallons and nothing new. Anything on Tony on the Public Works side? Hearing none, move on to City Clerk. Working on FEMA, almost done. Management report left. Closeout meeting with federal office is done as well. Working with the state office. Working through endpoint replacements, parks and open spaces. Board meeting on January 10th. Auditors were here on January 3rd. They will be getting results back to us back soon. They suggested making an appointment with the auditors for July next year. Anything on the city clerk side, treasury report, or budget report?
Tim, is that an annual report or annual meeting we have to have? The auditor will hit us every year,
No, it was just the years that we,
the years we need to, every 5, right?
well, no, because we made over $1 million. We collected more than $1 million in revenue, so we have to have a
Every year.
federal. Is it federal? I don't know. But they told me next year we'd have to have an audit too.
So it is.
So we'll just approve that again.
But yeah, usually it's every 5 to 8 years.
How far are we on the endpoint replacements?
We have 100 left to do.
And do we have any idea about how many we do a month?
No. Actually, we've been doing a lot this last week or so. So
So give it another month before we panic. Because if my understanding is correct, those 100, about 1/3 of our customers, no longer can have their water meter read unless we physically go into their house and read it.
right.
And so we are either estimating or we're going to have to get access.
If we get access, we might as well change out their endpoint.
Can't hear you.
If we get access, we might as well change out the
their
endpoint.
endpoint.
And if we don't get access, then we have to estimate.
Estimate plus the service fee.
Well, I'm not sure we can legally charge a service fee, but we could certainly set a policy as to what we estimate for any given house. We could say that we estimate 6,000 gallons used. If we have to estimate and then make adjustments once we get it done. But maybe that could be something for next month's meeting.
Okay.
Would it help if Chris maybe modified his hours instead of working 8 to 5, it became at noon and he could catch people after work then for a few days?
We've already we're kind of doing that. Right now, we're hitting everybody that we can even get hold of, and so far, we've only had to do a couple in the evenings. Because most people work from home anymore.
Yeah, a lot of them, you're right.
There's also we don't always have their telephone numbers to get hold of them, so we're sending out some letters. Whether they read the letters is another thing, but
Anything else on the system side? None? Move on, Les, you're up. Take one down, pass it
Take
around.
one down, pass it around. Sorry I didn't get that sent out before now. Breeze through the highlights. Baldwin Street reconstruction. We did receive, end of last week, check plan comments from the DOT. So we are on the home stretch for finishing out final plans on that. The final plan turn in, I forget the nomenclature they use for it. They have a bunch of acronyms, but is to get in the April letting is January 17th. So that's coming up here very quickly. There's a couple things outstanding that we are struggling to get done by then. One of them being the right-of-way acquisition that we would need. DOT's rules, sometimes they'll let you slide on things, sometimes they won't, depends on who we have. So there's that one, then there's environmental reviews and getting all that signed off on. I think we're good on that one. There's a couple other things, but so we're working towards that January 17th final plan turn in. If something doesn't get done by then, they won't let us slide on, then it'll be a May letting.
Refresh my memory as to the right-of-way acquisition.
So it's just an easement from Christensen that goes behind their property down through the floodplain area. It's the outlet for the storm sewer. To bring that up, if staff or council would like to take a lead on that to try and go talk to Christensen and get them to sign off on that easement document, you guys would be able to do that faster than we can. So if we go through the formal process of the waiting period and all that stuff, but if city staff want to approach them and say, hey, chat, and we can participate in that, but present them to it, hey, any concerns with this, any issues, you want to donate it, then that might move that one quicker.
And you have a plot drawing of
Yep.
just exactly what it is.
Yep, where the easement plats are being done, have started last week, I think. The final plans are probably there. I have not seen them lately. But what we would need to present them would be the final plat, or the final plans, so they can see what we're going to do, which would show the grading, and then the easement plat document that shows where the permanent and temporary easements are.
So if we set up a meeting with somebody from Snyder, be
Yep.
there to answer any questions?
Yep, it probably me, but we would certainly have somebody there to answer questions. Yeah.
Who,
I can probably do it. They're my old neighbors, so
Okay.
I grew up just in front of them.
Sure.
So,
would be willing to go with you if no one else, if you want somebody to go with you? Okay.
Yeah.
And so you just let Wes know so that you can have an answer questions.
yeah, and when did you say you'll have your final plan done?
I think we're probably pretty close there now, but I have not seen the final. So I want to take a look at it before I say we're done. Do you have an email address so I can contact you when we're good to go? So I'll
And
get.
Deb has it
Okay.
too.
Get it from Deb
So,
too.
yeah.
So I will contact you when it looks like we're good to go.
Okay.
And get you that information so you can see it. Go from there. The other thing that the DOT is going to need on that is a listing of all of our funding sources for the project. So they're going to want to see where we're getting all the funds for all the parts of it based on the estimate. So the STBG stuff, that's the Surface Transportation Grant. We know that information that comes from the DOT, so we'll have that. CDBG and is they delayed their announcements. Around Christmas time, they said it would be last week, and now they're saying it'd be this week. So I'm hoping that this week we'll find out, so that we would know that in time, confirm that funding source. And then the other outstanding source is then what would be the source for the city's portion of the rest of it, whether that's geo bonds, private loan, cash reserves, lost funds. I don't know if they need a lot of detail on that. I'll have to ask Spencer what we need to show them, but we definitely will need a list of that information.
Is it still the plan to have this done before school starts in the fall? With the May 11th?
Yes, we'll have to confirm on that. Worst case, we may need to stage it. Maybe we do part and do another part to be able to get it done in time. Spencer, sorry, I looked at Megan on my notes here. Spencer was looking into the ramifications of that delay on the construction side, so I'll need to check with him.
How much are we getting on the STBG?
The STBG is 240. The CDBG is 300.
And the total project?
Was it? I think with all the extra stuff.
It was 1.2.
I thought we had a breakdown of that maybe in your CIP, Steve, that you had last week or last month.
Yes, I just want to make sure that what I have in there is correct, and I will send a copy to you.
Okay. I think what you had last month was correct is a strong term because we don't know what prices are going to be ultimately, but at least that's the current. Yeah. What's the start date on school? 8.
They just set that calendar, I feel like, at their last,
Did they send it?
meeting.
Did they, I know they had sent out surveys to see which one all the parents liked better.
August 20 something.
Actually, I think they were both the same for start date.
Yeah, so it's good internal.
The start date was different, it was the breaks that were.
Thinking about it.
I mean, if we should say end of August, that gets me close enough.
Go here to go here to go here to go here. It may be the money.
And you might be lucky.
Well, you know
There you are.
what? They
DL.
District calendar.
no, that's for 22, 23.
Oh, you moved, okay.
There's a draft, so it is either going to start on the 23rd or start on the 23rd. Sounds like
Yeah, I
we're
was gonna
start on the
say.
23rd.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew they were
We'll
both
put down
the
both of
same.
those dates. And
Okay.
So we'd want work done by the 18th.
Yeah, at least to substantial completion where the roadway is opened up for access. There'll probably be some cleanup stuff, punch list stuff that we'll have to have that goes after that, but local for access. The other thing we might be able to do is hold some of the other stuff. Well, storm sewers have to go in first. Well, we'll see what that takes. I'm just gonna say. So Steve, you're gonna look into the funding sources.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think I hit everything on that one. Yep. I don't have any update on the Rock Creek Ridge Estates. To my knowledge, we have not done any more on that. The high school improvements, got the letter sent out today, which is why this memo was late, but I had to get it done. So, so please forward that on to the school or contractor or whoever
Now,
needs.
Jameson forwards it or you do?
I don't have any contact, I can, but I don't have any
That's why I
contact
didn't know,
information,
as
so.
long as somebody does.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll pull it up, tomorrow and get it sent off.
Yeah, yeah.
Chat.
Yeah. If you want me to send it, I can. The memo's written to the city because we're a third party, so. The biggest thing on there, I think, from a city's liability standpoint is Doug mentioned in his email, is the loading dock railing. Because that's a public sidewalk. It's not code because you have more than a 3-foot drop right next to an adjacent sidewalk. So my recommendation would be to get them to close the sidewalk until that railing's done, which is going to be a pain in the butt. I'm pretty sure it's used. But really, it shouldn't be open.
For
until that
safety's
railing's
sake,
done.
yes.
I mean, I can see a kid riding a bike down the street, on the sidewalk, and tearing off that ledge. And so,
Do they close the sidewalk or does the city close the sidewalk?
the city could. I think there might be incentive, and I'm thinking of it from a get it done kind of standpoint. That if the school's required to close it, they have to get the bondage barricades out. They have to deal with the disruption to the student traffic until the railing gets up. But at the same time,
Do they have the authority to close the sidewalk when?
if they do it at
Right of way?
if they do it at city's instruction,
Okay.
so they would
So
not
we
be able to
would-
close
we
it
would
without.
Instruct them.
Yep.
To barricade, close the sidewalk.
They would not be able to close it without your approval. But if you're directing them, that's your tacit approval that it's okay to shut down. So that's the big one that I think is a safety risk. The drainage ditch is another big issue when I cover that in that letter.
Well, the stuff sitting around, the piles of bricks.
Yep, the construction
Somebody's,
debris.
when we
And,
get some snow, somebody's gonna run into those, pull
Yep.
over.
and some of that might be outside of the right of way, so it might be inside the right of way. But we wrote the letter that basically says if it's in the right of way, it shouldn't be. And they should be wrapping up the project. Hopefully we can get a lot of that out there. We'll see. Yeah, we think they're wrapping it up.
Stadium maybe, not so much.
Well, the other one started first.
Yeah, I know.
The other issue on that one that council's had some concerns on is the location of the track shed. I have not heard if they've started construction on that. It's still just the rough grade up there.
At those corner places, there's a lot of lumber laying there.
Yep. So I went out and measured and took some rough measurements on those batter boards, and it does not appear to be correct. But those may be old before they got the correct locations.
It's the only ones they've had.
It's the only ones they've had, right? So, for reference, the east edge of the building is supposed to be, for the site plan that was approved by the city, is supposed to be in line with that exterior fence. The west edge of the shed building should be in line with the interior fence. So if you go out there, they have those fences built up to the gap. The building is basically the fences, the interior fence connects into the corner of the front of the building, and the exterior fence connects into the corner of the rear of the building. So that's where it should be.
With
batter
no
board-
setbacks required then, just that thing.
Yeah, no, that location, as far as my understanding of the zoning ordinance and this approved site plan meets the setbacks. But the batter boards aren't set up for that location. So hopefully they're just old and they are going to update them. But, so that was mentioned in there as well. So those are the big things. If there's anything else that comes up on that, let me know.
If you are on the phone, please put yourself on mute.
You skipped over Woodlawn.
Yeah, that one's just on hold. I think if you have it in the CIP for this upcoming year, so it's just, we're waiting to get your guys' direction on schedule and when you want to go with that and what we want to do for that project to go forward.
The council at their budget meeting discussed the possibility of breaking the project into segments.
Mhm.
We have about $22,000 a year that we get from the franchise fee.
Okay.
And that needs to be spent inside the right of way.
Okay.
And this project is a perfect project for inside the right of way. I don't know if there are convenient, is a convenient way to divide the project up into pieces where you might be able to do $100,000 worth of work, finance that over 5 years, and then come and do another 100,000 and just keep plugging away at it until it's done.
Yeah, I think that certainly could be done. And I think what was our estimate overall was like $250 and $21 with the underground option, somewhere around there. So yeah, I don't see why that couldn't work.
Maybe
phase
get
it out.
the channel dug,
Yeah.
open ditch dug one time, and then a block's worth of.
Start from the downstream,
Yeah.
go as far as you can. What I might recommend is going ahead and just doing the design for the whole stretch up to the school. So that way we've got that on the shelf. And then, but in the design, we could have it broken up into phase 1, 2, 3. And just as funding comes in or as it gets scheduled, bid out that first package, the second package, the third package, whatever it takes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we should know when we approve the budget in March.
Yes, that's definitely doable and common actually. So, water treatment plant, wastewater discharge permit. That one's on a slow burn. I've got the scope done, but I have not done my review on it, so I'll get that to you. We don't have a compliance deadline on that till 2027, so we've got some time to get that one accomplished. But probably at the February meeting, I'll have that for you. Cemetery survey, this was one that I think Steve, you brought up last time, was looking into correcting some of the discrepancies in the cemetery. So I'm working on a scope with Greg to get that to you, get that upcoming. And then the Rolling Hills Mobile Home Park is back on the list. I got an email last week saying, hey, we want to look at this again. So I'm not going to hold my breath. We'll see. What they're looking at is they're probably facing some DNR, same thing we did. They not meeting limits, so they're going to have new limits. So they're probably getting pushed by the DNR. We're going to find out. So one of the options we talked about back then was connecting to the city's wastewater system. That won't be done without city input, without city's acceptance of the terms and conditions and what they're going to pay you and all that. So, but that will probably be one that we would look at for them as an option. They don't have to go into them weighing their costs, all that is. But just, that's more of a FYI for you guys if that's out there. You would not, for them to connect to the city, it is not a case where they would have to be annexed in. They can connect to the city, you can provide service to outside the city limits. You would just have to have an agreement for what rates they would pay because they would be under the ordinance for the. So it'd be a separate agreement with them for providing wastewater treatment. So makes that question maybe a little bit simpler without that. I think I didn't get that deleted off there, the high school truck loading concern. We talked about that last time. I didn't have any other follow-up items. So.
Anything for less on this at all? Hearing none. Parks and open spaces. Anything new on that side?
We're working on the forestry grant. I know that they meet tomorrow to finalize some things. I think Jody had a couple calls or something left to do, and then it will be presented to the city council.
Could probably bring it to one of the budget meetings, because whatever the park board would like to do really has budget impact. And so that way you don't have to wait a whole month.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right, hearing none. I will actually take a motion to move 7P to the next item so we can get Lisa in and out as quickly as possible.
It's your heart.
Moved by Doug, second by Lauren. Discussion. Hearing none. Megan?
Yes.
Doug? Yep. Steve?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
Megan?
You did me first, but
And
yeah.
Ken.
And
And
Ken.
Ken says yes too.
Put it back on mute, Ken.
I think that Wells Fargo.
Those are yours. All right. printed this off, so everybody has
Oh,
to
great.
too quick. So, that's it. We budgeted this year, I don't remember if it was $50,000
Yep.
or
50,000, well, we
Started
had
at that.
30,000 and we agreed that we would throw another 20 at it.
so 50-ish thousand, let's call it, to do renovations of City Hall. And then we also talked about in this year's budget adding a building on the back. And we were talking about budgeting close to 200,000 for that. This facility, Lisa reached out to me, that was just last week, of 91 Main Street that is now open for lease. And it has more room than we do in here. Plus, there is an apartment on the back that I would suggest that we would use for storage, all of our file cabinets and things like that. The good part about this is it would not cost as much in the short term to build this out rather than heading over there to do a little bit of renovation to this area. I think we were talking close to $2,000, and obviously $200,000 we're looking at for 10 years. I'll pick that up. Did I do that?
Yeah.
One of the
What did you say?
$2,000
A month
a month. Yeah, sorry,
for,
for 10 years.
which would be $240,000.
Yeah, it's essentially 8.5 that I rounded up.
Okay.
And so I took Deb over there on Friday, and we met Lisa over there to do a quick tour of it. Really, the only thing that it would need for it to work in our favor would be the boardroom, is what I was thinking council chambers would be. It has double doors in there right now, but I would like to expand those, maybe put some accordion doors on it, so then when we have people that want to show up to our council meetings, they would be able to see them and discussions. And then in the back where the apartment is, we would probably want to put some sort of LVP or something out there, so we can just make that storage slash. Completely open to suggestions on that. Lisa is here to answer any of your guys' questions.
Utilities are included.
They are. Heat, electric, water, and internet phone checks are all included.
And if you look at the building itself, it looks a lot more professional where we're at.
It does look professional. It's a nice looking building.
The other side of this, what I was thinking would be this area would become a community meeting space that the library would have access to. Really, the only thing that would need to be done here would be tear up the carpet, take those walls out, so it's just one wide open space. And we would have folding chairs, tables that we could use as well. The action item tied to this, obviously, we don't want to make like a split-second decision and say, yes, we're going, sign the dotted line. But it would be to move forward in the investigation process of this and get a lease, and send it over to Gil so he can review it. And then, timely fashion serves him right. Get that back by next meeting. They will revisit. Comments from council?
When you think about moves like this, you think about moving your home, you know, And what are all those little tiny responsibilities of moving a home to a new place, not just physically moving a couch or something like that, but Deb and Dee are gonna have a lot of work. And so that's one thing that I thought of, changing address, obviously we'll just move the phone, but all those little tiny things that go in with the move, that's the only thing that I could think of was like, oh my goodness, this is,
So I thought about that too. The great part is they are still not on their new computers yet, so this would be a great opportunity to move them over to those computers that we've had.
good point. Point.
Make things a little cleaner, and there's some furniture also
Yeah.
with this as well. So I don't think we would need to get anything else. Maybe some chairs, and maybe something different than a conference table.
We'd have probably some additional insurance costs. Could be anything there potential, that's the only
Renters insurance, I suppose.
renter's insurance or something similar.
How wide is the building? 25 feet?
That's a great question. Honestly, I'll have to look that up on the assessors, it'll tell me, but
I think a lot is 25 feet. This is
could be.
about 14 feet wide. And so it would be a little bit wider than what we have here.
And the way we've talked about setting it up would be, so if you can envision it,
What?
This is about 18. You count
18?
4, 8, 12, 16,
17, 18?
17, 18, roughly 17.
And so if it's 25, then it's a little bit wider.
the way we kind of thought about setting it up would be, as you walk in the doors, there's two little nooks with windows. And so Dee would have enough, and Deb would have enough, and Deb's desk would have a high top on it. So anybody that needs to write something down can do that. I was thinking about doing two and just doing cubicles, but they already have the furniture. It just has space and stuff. It's not the extra money at this point.
I think it is worth investigating, getting the lease agreement, having Gil review it. The fact that the heat, water, and electric is paid for as part of the rent doesn't save the city any money, because we would still be heating and providing electricity to this building. It may cut down a little bit on our monthly internet bill, because we we'd be able to get rid of an internet line that we have currently for the city hall and the library. The library, don't we have 3 internet lines or just 2?
2.
And so the library would continue to have 2.
But our phone line,
Our phone would be.
if that's line.
We'd have to move that, so we would still have.
Yeah, they're paying for phone and fax.
Oh, I thought it was just internet, phone and fax. Can you get the same number moved over?
You'll have to call the phone company, but yeah, they should release it and allow you to port.
Okay. So there really wouldn't be a big savings on a monthly basis. The requested approximately $2,000 a month would be an additional expense to the city. And the term is a 15-year minimum lease. We were going to spend $200,000, and that takes about halfway through that 15 years. And so we just have to take a look at, it would be a commitment to future councils, budgets, for
Yep.
$2,400, a year.
And this also has in it, the lease will have a first right of refusal, so if Bob ever wanted to let go of the property, we have a first decision whether we want to buy that or not. My big thought was, one, it's an open space, it's already essentially ready to go. Two, we don't know what we would run into. I mean, this is such a building, if we tie a new part to an old part together, new HVAC. I don't think personally $200,000 would make that happen. And three, $200,000 one lump sum or $2,000 $4,000.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna chime in, if I may. My husband is in construction and has been for 15 years, and I certainly don't know what the thought was as far as like what style of build out you were looking at. But I mean, unless it was looking at like a bare bones steel building,
That's
you're
that's
well
exactly what we
over.
looked
I mean,
at.
if you were going to do anything near, in my opinion, a lot of Main Street. If you're going to hit that level, you're going to be well over two. You're going to be closer to that 400 mark, and then you're also going to, of course, still be responsible for the wear and tear and general maintenance and care as well. But that's not making it right or wrong. That's just informational as far as it's one thing to budget. I want to spend X amount of dollars, and it's another thing of when you say, but that's really not what we want for the next 50 years for City Hall to look like. Sometimes there's just a discrepancy in what you want to spend versus what the cost is. That's all.
And we did put in, I'm gonna say 50-ish thousand that we were gonna use to replace the Hall for this year. So essentially what we could do is spend, I don't know, how many months are left in the fiscal year? 6? So you're looking at 10 grand, so full 10 grand out of that for rent lease for the rest of the year. You got $40,000 to tear out carpet and knock down some walls and maybe some paint. And you're set up something that don't go back.
And we'll also have some cost for file cabinets, because obviously we don't have enough.
Yep.
And there'll probably also be some cost in getting some help in moving things. 2 men in a truck, if nothing else.
Or some high school, Browning high schoolers that want to
Spring
There's
football
some-
training, right.
silver court hours.
I move that we get the lease agreement and we have Bill review it. And once we get a recommendation back, we meet to finalize our decision.
Motion made by Steve, second by Lauren, discussion. Hearing none, I think I'll let Doug.
Yes.
Ken?
Yeah.
Steve?
Yes.
Megan? Or Lauren? Meg?
Yes.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay.
How many times?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
They just
So-
talked about
Yeah.
this. Put your name tag sideways so he can just read them. There we go.
Yeah, I'll get with you tomorrow.
Perfect, sounds like my fix.
See you, take care, guys.
Special.
21 feet,
21 feet.
Yeah.
What's 21 feet?
The building.
the building.
Okay.
If I'm counting on it's 25 everywhere around it, but it's
No, kidding.
Well, here's the here's the issue, that picture there.
Is not, that's
is
89
not
Main
the-
Street.
Yeah.
I found that out too.
Yeah.
Something's not
Well,
driving
it
there.
is kinda, you get one
You get one
little
window of
section
it.
of windows.
Oh.
Yeah, that's Jeremy Henry's
Go to the,
building.
go to the map.
Yeah, 21.
So why is everything out? So the building to the south of it got the additional 4 feet?
Right there.
Yep.
29
Yes.
feet. Yep.
What's that line mean though?
The red line is probably the original city plat line,
Yeah,
and then they
original
bought
lot-
4
all,
feet
all the
more.
lots were 25 foot,
Gotcha.
but they sold off 4 foot to the south.
So the official legal description is part of lot, whatever number.
So it might be just as wide as this on the inside.
Inside here, and,
That's true.
It does go wider though, doesn't it?
Well, but there's
Well, that's
also
because
not,
it's empty.
yeah, I was gonna say it's empty.
It's
This
open.
probably will look amazingly
It was definitely longer.
big too, if everything was out of it.
When I think too, the way that the setup would be with one
It is
desk over
definitely
here and one desk over here, then it's gonna open up a whole bunch more space than we have now.
Will this table, I mean, I'm not terribly fond of it, but we have it, and we did fit sideways in that room so that it faces, instead of right now with some people facing north, some people facing west,
So you want to
rotating at
angle it
45 degrees so that everybody's facing west, and then the audience is,
Facing everyone.
would be sitting in front of it.
I don't believe we would have to
Parallel to this.
It might, if they are able to make those doors accordion and open them up wider. The problem that you might run into is one of the other reasons I forgot to mention this, to get the apartment in the back, is because that's handicap access. And the handicap accessible door would go right through the council chamber. So I don't know if you
It's
want.
all the way over on one side.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if this
This wouldn't
fits
be centered, it'd be
rotated.
6 foot off center.
and set off so that there's 3 foot
Yeah.
from the corner, then a wheelchair would still be able to.
It's possible.
By the fridge area.
Yeah. We would really want to restain this one. It's a beautiful window they have.
Yeah, they have
Yeah, nice garden.
gorgeous
You
wood.
said what?
We'd have to restain this whole
Refinish.
thing. And refinish it to match the. Otherwise, I was thinking of one, just really long table. Where
Yeah.
all of us would have space.
I don't know. Right now, this works for 7 people, and if you have one long table, then we would all have to be closer together, because the perimeter around this thing would be longer than a straight line.
Is this movable? It's not touching the ground? No?
It's movable.
And I
Yeah,
don't-
Wes,
I
take a
don't
look at
really
it. I'm just
wanna
curious.
do this, You know, I like that I can see Ken.
It's movable because you see where the brown and rust.
It's sort
We
of,
moved it forward.
sort of.
All things that need to be looked into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ready?
Michelle just texted me, Ken's phone died, we'll be back. So, just so
Okay.
everybody's aware. I would tell you if I knew where we were at.
7A.
7A. Rental.
Okay, 7A, discussion action on rental of 5-acre farm ground. Deb, you want to give us some background on this?
Steve Flickinger called and wanted to know if we were gonna rent out the farm ground this year. Because we have to, supposedly. But Doug had mentioned that if we didn't give the previous renter notice, by August or September,
September 1st.
that they
It's
got it.
automatic, yeah.
It's automatic, and that is actually an Iowa rule.
Yeah.
So we didn't give Trevor written notice by September 1st,
So he has to begin.
so he has it.
Because I also noticed, in the on the flyer that, access is, severely limited. And we discussed all of this, at a council meeting earlier. And my recollection was that, whoever rented the farm ground would be able to use the access road to get back there because they are on city business.
We discussed that they had to get permission from Dr. Sidwell before.
And Trevor has it.
Yeah, because he farms
farms.
Sidwell's land.
Sidwell's land right there, so he's got it.
And do we need to change the easement parameters?
That would require approval of Dr. Sidwell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we have to condemn it?
So might be worth asking Gil's opinion. The current language is written, I believe, last time I looked at it was access for
City use. only,
city
some phrase
use or
like that.
city needs or something like that. So
I think we need to get
Yeah.
Gil's opinion.
how that's read as far as whether
because-
somebody that you're leasing it to could use that access to access the ground. I mean, it is the city ground and it is the access to the city ground. But was that the understanding of the property owner when we bought that easement for the treatment plant? I don't know.
You can condemn access to your property under Iowa law. And this is something Gil needs to advise us on. If the access does not allow it to be farmed, then we would, in my opinion, would have a right to condemn access so that it can be farmed.
Or if it falls under the easement's current application of, okay, if that's the access to the city's property, it's for city purposes.
Yep.
If his determination is, yeah, it fits, or then you just go talk to Dr. Sidwell and say, is there concern with this?
Now, let's get the opinion from Gil as to what our rights are. It doesn't make any sense to make the ground available for rent if people can't get to it.
Could make it a, so.
Yeah.
More than one would make.
Except when it's cloudy, you don't generate much.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
Okay, so that was a action.
Depends on how cloudy or how dark it is. We
Well,
generate no matter what.
What are we being asked to do? To
Your
approve,
action is that,
to approve the,
Yeah.
going out to rent on the farm ground? Well, no, because it's already
Trevor still
Yeah.
has it.
rented this
This
year.
is not gonna happen.
So
The
you're
flyer's
saying
not
to
gonna have
contact Gil.
contact
Gil.
Gil, find out what our access rights are, and for next year,
Revisit in
when we
July or August.
put it out for rent, we need to make sure that it has access if it's going out for rent. Otherwise, we continue renting it to whoever is farming the other property.
And I would say if we do rent this out again, that we do more than a 1 year lease, I think we could go up to a 3 or 5 year lease as a.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on. Discussion and action on setting times and dates for regular council meetings in 2023.
Do we want the first Monday of the month, or do we want to go to some other day?
I'm fine with the first Monday of the month, staying with that, but can we move it to 6 instead of 6:30?
Yep.
Does that give you enough time for supper in between?
I don't get enough time for supper anyway.
So the earlier the better for you, right?
Yeah, sure.
So 5 o'clock.
Or does that mean
Oh, I
longer
would
for you guys
totally
to have a
do that.
meeting?
Huh?
Wait,
Does
what?
that mean that you guys have longer meetings? Because you come in early?
No, the whole idea is to get out earlier, that's my point. I'm trying to, scoot us up so we can get out sooner.
So I got a motion on Megan's side to do first
5
Monday of the
o'clock?
month at
I would be fine with that, but I don't think you're home in town. Are you in town that early?
I'm not back.
about 5:30 then.
What's next week?
I can come in late,
About 6 p.m.
6 would work.
Oh, darn it.
Okay, so now I got a motion on the table by Doug for the first Monday of the month at 6 p.m.
Second.
Second by
Third.
Megan. Discussion.
Sure.
Hearing none. Steve.
You
Yes.
had second.
What?
Me, this
Megan.
one, this time, it was really me.
Steve.
Yes.
Lauren.
Yes.
Megan.
Yes,
Doug.
Yes.
So you've got your names right.
Cool.
because we turned
because
them
we
towards
turned
you,
them
so you
towards
could
you.
read them.
I just have. Okay. I'm losing it. See, this is why I'm losing my hair, guys.
Would you be able to do it earlier on some other
A
day?
different day, because you always
No,
have
but
to drive.
I'm running a shuttle at 5.
Okay.
to Collins and back.
You could just retire.
I could,
You
I could get
could.
somebody else, if you really want to go, if it's that important, yeah, I'll just.
We'll try for a while. Let's,
Yeah.
we can always redo a resolution.
Okay.
All right.
Summertime, don't we?
Action on resolution setting time in place for public hearing for the purpose of considering the maximum tax dollars from certain levies for the city's proposed fiscal year budget 23-24.
Deb,
Yes.
what levies are we talking about? General? And what else? Insurance? Employee benefits? Emergency?
I gave you that piece of paper. I don't know. Emergency.
Huh?
She said emergencies.
Yeah, emergency, employee benefits, insurance in general. Is that all? Or do we also will we also be doing debt?
No, not debt.
Not debt. Not projects.
I gave you my piece of paper at the last meeting.
That was a mistake.
But I'm not able to do these things.
Can you email that to us?
If she gave it to you, you need to email it to us.
If I could ever find it.
Yeah.
Because those would be the ones that we have to make sure we have enough information on by the time February 6th rolls around, that we're fairly confident that we have the right numbers.
Right.
Now, general, there's no question, it's $8.10 a thousand. But the others aren't as limited, if I remember correctly. Okay. Move resolution 2023-02.
That's a motion made by Steve,
Second.
second by Doug. Discussion. Hearing none. Lauren, I think you're up.
Yes.
Megan.
Yep.
Doug.
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
All right. Now we are on to discussion and action on better tomorrow. Are we going to do it?
Should.
Yes. I have a
Yes.
question.
Yes.
We've always done individuals, so can we nominate or discuss groups on
We-
getting?
No,
these
we've done
different
groups.
Oh. I think if we one, advertised it more, two, pushed it into the community and got students' attention. And there's no, the only reward is a good feeling, right? That you've done something right for the community. So I think and a plaque, by God. Yes. So I think
You want to do like a little,
we should push it to groups, 4-H, the kids groups, even the choir, whatever. I just think we need to push it harder, and I think it'll grab people. So I'd like to help with that.
maybe do a little bit more than necessarily a very fun city council.
Yeah, and a picture with our mayor.
Well, I move that we continue with the Community Betterment Award that Lauren has put in charge.
There you go. Rah, rah. That's a motion made by Steve.
I'll second.
Second by Lauren. Discussion. Hearing none. Megan.
Yes.
Doug.
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
Lauren.
Yes.
We had JKT Construction, Maxwell VFW Post, Historical Society.
Oh, yeah.
So we've had more than just individuals. And
What's that date back to?
groceries. I think it's-
Into the table.
Yeah.
So it can be
All
as broad
Smart chairs
as
actually
what people want it to be.
96.
Do it lower. 93, you said?
96.
96.
It was 3 years old back then.
Very good year.
So was I.
Me too.
3 plus a couple zeros.
City council can hate you.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, 7D, we're doing crazy.
Thank
Action
you.
on 2023 membership appointments to the Story County Management Commission.
Is this Ken and I's responsibility or?
Is this the 911 one? I don't know.
This is, yeah, they go through their emergency stuff. There's
In the past, haven't we had the mayor and then the chair of
Someone
the
else.
emergency and the vice chair? So it would be, you would be primary, Ken would be alternate, and I would be the second alternate.
Yep.
So moved.
There you go. That's a motion made by Steve,
Second.
seconded by Megan.
Yeah.
She's not on it. Doug.
Yes.
And Lauren just took betterment, so.
Yes.
Yeah, not the parks.
Yes.
Megan.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one that I haven't been
Do something.
going to because it seems like our words go on.
Well,
They have
if
one
you,
on
if
the
you don't go, then are you letting your alternate know?
I talked to him about it, so it's fine. I think we all share the same feeling like Doug had when we were at that. There's like, when I was there was only 4.
Well, if you're not going and Ken's not going, let me know. Because I think we need to show up at the table and piss them off.
I tried that.
Well,
It cost us $60,000 when you were turning those.
Yeah.
That's what I was just gonna say. So that's that department.
Yeah,
Like,
essentially.
okay.
They
But if
have
you-
a,
if you don't complain, then nothing
Nothing happens.
happens.
they have a meeting on the 19th or 18th, and they need at least 9 people showing up.
I'll check my
She
calendar. and I'll
doesn't
get
like it
get
when
back.
people tell us.
Or get back to Ken and then
I'll
get
get back to Dave.
Yes,
All right, 7F, discussion action on budget planning for fiscal year 23-24.
Well, I sent out the fire board stuff to everybody.
Yep.
And our next budget meeting is when? I didn't bring any of that with me.
Next Monday,
Wait, I
16th.
Next Monday,
Yes,
Just for what? What is this? Next
Budget.
Friday?
budget.
and today is the 9th, so 16th.
16. At 6 o'clock.
Vacation day.
Is that 6 o'clock?
But
We're doing the new, oh, it's a budget meeting, 6 o'clock. So when's the new 6 PM council?
July 1.
Starts on,
July.
no,
February.
The resolution is a calendar year,
Yeah,
Oh,
so
so
it's,
February.
there you go. You may have to switch that, old resolution that we just passed for the time and place for public hearings.
isn't that a calendar year one?
Yes.
So from here on out, our meetings are at 6.
No, it's fiscal year, okay.
It is fiscal year.
Doug
I
just
was
said it was
thinking that all the
calendar.
previous years, we always did it, at the end of December or the first meeting in January, because that's when the new council members come in. A year from now,
Right,
you're gonna have new council members, and they should be able to decide
when they want to meet.
when they wanna meet.
January 1st to December 31st.
Yep.
Except I have the year wrong.
What?
It's a January to December. It's the,
And so that's what this one should be also.
and that's what it is.
It is?
Except I have the wrong year.
Okay. We would like to
What?
revisit this item.
Should we,
From January 1st through December 1st, the regular place of meetings.
Right. So it
Except
should be
I have
for
the wrong
this
year.
Yeah, so it is for 2023. It's January to December of 2023.
Next item, 7A, discussion and action on resolution times and dates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for calendar year, and move we reconsider 2023-02 to correct the resolution to calendar year 2023 in the first whereas.
Motion made by Steve.
And just a
Well,
second.
wait, now we're not
Hold on,
done with this
everybody
motion
calm down.
because we got some
We're still smoking on some
motioning
other
too.
things.
Yeah, we got some motioning too.
I guess that's the only place. Oh, no, on the title. Proposed calendar year. 2023 in the title and in the first whereas.
So we're suggesting that we possibly break it up further to say for the months of
Oh.
June through August.
I'm on the wrong resolution.
We can move it to 5 o'clock and I can just come in late.
How late are you talking? 'Cause that's not.
The earliest I can be here is about 5:45.
Oh,
We don't want that.
We're gonna be done with the meeting before that, though.
Especially in the summer.
But June, July, August,
Motion
there's
made
no,
by Jameson.
Yeah.
I have no driving June, July, and August, so we can
Yeah.
go at 5 o'clock those 3 months easy.
2023.
Would we have to have that in the resolution? Or can we just move those times?
We'd have to have it,
You have to draft
it'd have to be the plan.
We,
You
yeah,
guys are making things complicated. Quit.
Summer at
We're outta
5, rest
here.
of the year at
We
6.
went out of here earlier
Quit.
this summer. It's just 3 months.
Quit.
3 months, Deb. Come on, be a team player.
Yeah, but all the
So
special
it's
things that you guys do.
Resolution
Oh, we're not doing special things this year.
2023-01.
Year 1.
Yes, I had the wrong one.
Oh, pooey.
Yeah, it's this one.
And under section 1, it would be from January 1st, 2023 through December 31st,
Right,
2023.
right.
And have we decided that it's 6?
I think we've decided it's
But
June,
you go June, July, August at 5. I don't think that's too complicated. you want
July, August.
6 p.m. A regular time and place, city of regular meeting, 6 p.m.
First Monday of each month.
So Doug has time to go set off fireworks after.
6 p.m. from
January through May.
January through May,
Oh, Deb, we're moving.
And September through
Comma.
December.
and no, just a comma, and where we're gonna go 5 or 5:30?
5.
5 PM, June through August, comma, and 6 PM,
September through.
September through December.
You were gonna have everybody so confused.
That's fine.
Maybe that's what he's trying to.
This starts now.
Full moon.
Regular
Through
days meeting
December.
shall be the first Monday of each
Okay.
month,
And
except
they
as
still have all of
indicated
you
below.
Oh, look at, see
This
Black
month,
Cat.
this year.
for this year. So then the next council gets to choose,
Correct.
go back to, if they so choose. to
Right,
go
that's
back.
why it's always in January for that year.
So what
That
holidays
you're,
are we gonna
because,
have
yeah,
to move?
because when you have a new council coming in, they should be able to choose when they want.
I was
to
just
have
thinking that.
And what we did 2 years ago is we passed this resolution in December after consulting with
They
the
were all
new
here at the December meeting.
council members,
Yes.
because they were at the December meeting. And we said, when do you want to meet? And everybody decided.
Right.
So that council then passed it and it was in effect.
Well, July 4th is a Tuesday. Would Monday be a holiday?
So this kicks in.
If July 4th is a Tuesday, is Monday a holiday?
No,
No.
be Tuesday.
Yeah,
Okay, okay. So Labor Day be the one?
Labor Day. And Columbus Day. And they don't get Columbus Day off, because I've got that out this year.
So Labor Day would be the only second.
Labor Day is the only one.
So I move we reconsider resolution 2023-01 so that it is for calendar year 2023. And the meetings are at 6 PM from January through May, 5 PM June through August, and 6 PM September through December.
So we have to second that first and then go your new one.
I would second.
Motion made by Steve, second by Lauren. Discussion. Hearing none. Steve,
Yes.
Lauren,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Doug.
Yes.
Now,
Now, new motion.
new motion.
Well, we've moved to reconsider,
So now
so,
we're reconsidering. You have a motion.
New motion.
the motion is that, we have, the dates as discussed.
Perfect. Motion made by Steve,
Second.
second by Lauren. Discussion. Hearing none. Lauren,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes,
Doug. Yes. Steve.
Yes.
Now, moving on to item
Budget.
7F, discussion and action on budget planning for fiscal year 2023-2024, part 2.
So we have the fire board stuff done. We have the insurance done. We've tentatively earmarked salaries. I was given the parks budget.
These are for the library, but it says to leave them here in the city hall, is that okay?
that's fine.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I was given the parks budget, and I think Jody was going to, take that back and make sure that with the discussions tomorrow night, that everything was still okay. That leaves, parks and, then water, sewer, and miscellaneous. And I've talked to Tiana, who's waiting for information from me on customers and consumption rates, which Deb is going to get to me. I told Tiana she would have it a week from Friday. So by the time February rolls around, Well, do we have another meeting after the 16th?
Twentieth is our max stack hearing. Oh, no, that's the published paper. January 30th is expenditure discussion.
Okay, the 30th should have water and sewer completed. And if we get everything else done at the 16th, then we should be in pretty good shape. We'll just have to do fine tuning of balancing and revenues.
Anything else?
No, can't wait till season's over with.
I tell you what, though, I do like the fact that we're not really doing budget stuff here.
Yeah.
I did too.
I
It
did too.
just
10
takes too
o'clock,
long.
11 o'clock.
Golly.
Pretty late. All right, well, we will move on to council mayor reports. Steve, you're up first.
I don't have anything. I've been focusing on budget.
Lauren, you're up.
I have 3 things. Apologize in advance. Cassidy and I are going to bring back Monday night freedom food. We've taken an extended break from that. We think it'd be a great idea to bring it back. I think everybody needs a food fix. Right now,
Is mom's going to go Monday nights?
I will confirm that, I guess. Did they?
Did they change their mind? They never have been.
They never have to.
No.
Okay.
I will confirm that, because if they are open, then I will not do Monday nights.
Because I think pizza's going to be open.
Oh, that's true.
So I don't know if
I
she
didn't
plan
even
on
think
changing
about that.
So I will confirm that. If they are open on Monday nights, we'll completely change the day, whatever day they're not open. But
Sunday.
yes, Sunday.
Softball.
Yeah, we can do
Sunday
Sunday.
softball.
Anyway, I think people are craving it. They've been asking for it, so we'll bring it back on the days that our restaurant in town is not open. I'm working on the Prairie Meadows grant for the disc golf course expansion. 3/4 of the way is done with that. Working closely with Steve Kenton and the group that was in those original meetings.
Welcome. We're almost done, Ken. Thanks.
I'm trying to get me off you.
It'd be a lengthy grant, but it's due the end of February, and we'll know by July whether we receive it.
Do you know about how much?
40,000.
That's for the disc golf, is that?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So if you get the
Trying to
whole
get all the
thing,
meetings in my phone.
that is the whole thing for disc golf, right?
That is the Cadillac version of what these guys want.
When do they decide?
By July 1.
Okay, so we should include in our budget that expenditure and the revenue, and if we don't get the revenue, then we don't have to expend.
Sure. I'm also using the city's EIN and tax exempt status. Kathy Smith is working on a Prairie Meadows grant too, but she's working on one for Renewal Committee. So we're both kind of doing it, but different projects, different EINs. But this one is for the city, so I wanted to bring everyone up to speed on that. I do have an update on the shelter construction project that I started getting quotes for the lift on the Goodwin house moving. That I briefly sent out an email stating that they would afford us $35,000 for the lift alone. I met with Justin Green. He is the Vice President of Production at Central Iowa Building Systems. And I met with him the other day, and he actually believes we should go the opposite. Instead of lifting it and working from the bottom up, we should go from the top down. And what he means by that is taking the top off, right? Removing the middle section or fixing the middle section of the shelter house, getting rid of the cinder blocks, and actually pouring a concrete 4-foot, 5-foot wall instead of lifting it, putting more cinder blocks on top. He would recommend that we tear those cinder blocks out, frame in new walls about 4 foot tall, because essentially what's happening is those floodwaters are actually coming in and ruining the mortar in between those the cinder blocks. So that's what's caused the erosion, which I'm sure you knew that, but he is actually thinking that we should go from the top down, pop the top off, work our way
When you say
down.
pop the top off, it's still taking the wooden portion, lifting it.
Yeah, actually taking the top off,
The roof off.
Just the roof and leaving the walls.
the walls. Well, we're replacing the walls, right? We wanted to make those look nice. We were going to replace those walls in the original discussion.
The,
With tin.
I'm not sure what material he would use, but go ahead.
the original concern was that the floor sits below the level of the adjacent road.
Right.
And so that everything needs to move up some amount of distance. And so that the patio floor is higher, the floor inside the food stand is higher. And so what he's suggesting, and I don't have any problem with getting rid of the concrete block, pouring a concrete wall in its place. But does that also include everything being moved up, or is that in lieu of lifting?
That would be in
Well, I would be in favor of that. Because the thing, every time it rains, dirt washes onto the patio. And so we're cleaning, we're down there cleaning the patio all the time because the patio sits lower than the adjacent road. And if it rains, then you're walking in puddles to get to the patio. So the whole thing needs to be raised some distance, whether it's 3 blocks, whether it's 1 block, I don't know. Someone else could sort of make that decision. But if we don't raise it, then the patio is going to be underwater.
So we lift this as well. You lift the patio, is that what?
And the floor inside is all broken up.
So are you thinking steps or a ramp to get up there to
Just bring in some dirt
And
and
move.
slope away.
slope away?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay, I can go back and explain that to him. Because that would look silly and I don't know why he would.
And the other one that does not have concrete under it is in the same situation. It's so low that water collects underneath those awnings, and so it just becomes a mud puddle.
You almost wonder if it'd be cheaper just to tear it down.
We discussed that, because if you lift it at the 35,000 and then you go in and try to make it look nice and remodel, you're $100,000 into the project, when you could essentially.
How can they lift a house and make it pay for itself? Okay.
I don't know that. I wish I did.
How deep is it?
But yeah, continue talking to people, but the problem continues to be that the seating area is now lower than the road. So anytime it rains, you get puddles between the road and the seating area, and it extends onto the concrete pad because it's so low. We went in a few years ago, and because the Park Road was in such bad shape, we said, well, we'll fix that, and we hauled in 2 inches of rock. Okay, well, now the road's 2 inches higher. And this is going to continue over time, where we go in and fix the road, and particularly if we haul in rock. Even if we don't haul in rock, if we seal coat it, then it becomes a half an inch higher every few years as we put more seal coat on. A good example of that is Maxwell Street, any street here in town. The streets are starting to get higher than the adjacent sidewalk. Because we add a little bit each year.
Okay. So just so that I
And the concept
explain
was,
this.
gee, let's raise the building up, put another layer or two of concrete block, put it back down, because all that whole building with the beams and everything that these contractors have, lift it up, put a concrete block under it, put it back down, done. But maybe life is not this.
But that still doesn't solve the issue though, right? If you're still
You're gonna have to fill in the floor.
You gotta fill in the
Once
floor.
you raise the building, then you could go in and raise the floor inside, put some, go and break the concrete up on the outside, bring some fill dirt in, put a new concrete pad out there, and
So what you're saying.
I'm saying the same thing, aren't I?
Yeah, but yours would, it's the same exact thing. So you would raise the walls
Yes.
for phase one. Phase two would be going in, fixing up all the concrete, raising everything up.
Essentially what Justin and I are talking about is basically a new shelter, all except the roof. You know, that's coming, the beams are rotted, they need to be replaced. So if we raise the roof, then replaced the walls, or because they're rotted too, he's taken pictures of everything that does need to be replaced. Unfortunately, it's a lot. Knocked out all those cinder blocks, replaced it with framed concrete walls, 4 or 5 foot tall. Still focused over here with bringing in fill, dirt, and sand, raising this at the same time. Essentially, Justin just wants to start at the top. He wants to take the roof off, put it over here, then go down and work on the walls, take those out, replace them. Well, he'd have to do that then for I think it's the same concept, except
as long as that patio
Long as
is
the floor
either
goes higher.
raised up
Floor,
The floor's got
everywhere
to,
has to go
enough.
higher.
that it drains away
Right.
from the seating area.
be raised higher.
But I think it's-
Now, that could just be one, essentially 8 inches or 12,
Right.
whatever's appropriate. But
But I think if you're gonna stay with the same structure, I think you're gonna have to do it in phases. I think you're gonna have to raise walls and then go in, tear up the concrete, raise the floor, and then do the same thing out in the seating area.
Can't you just put sand and concrete over the top of the existing concrete?
I would assume so.
yeah, you'd have to go in,
But you'd still have to raise
break
it.
up that concrete underneath,
But
otherwise
it would still be part of the base.
make it part of the base.
and if we could do that project, Justin said you could do all that work in the lift budget alone. So I think if we did it the opposite way and spent our money doing it the opposite way, or $35,000 for a lift alone is hefty, very hefty. So if we could do all of these little pieces or phases, these sections for the same amount of money, it might be a better option. Or less, it could be less. And what I
My
think we-
concern is getting that
Get elevated.
up out of the water
Okay,
so that
I will make
we
that.
don't have people walking through puddles if it happens to rain right before an event.
Yeah.
Whether that's Mark in the Park or whether it's Old Settlers, doesn't make any difference. If it's just somebody renting the shelter right now,
Yeah.
Right.
So your thought was when you were going to raise it with cinder blocks, you are also going to raise the
Absolutely.
patios at the same time.
I don't know how you could do it separately,
You couldn't do it.
because you raise the building and you keep the patio down,
Now you've got
you
to.
have to have step ladder or step stool just to work. I mean,
If I were
And you have to do the floor
schedule
inside,
a
otherwise
meeting
everybody working
or get
inside
together
during
with
the
just
settlers.
down to
The window
Counter
wouldn't be
drive
here, I
up.
mean, I'd be like, okay.
God knows you don't want me there on my own.
That's all I got.
Megan,
I was asked about where we were with the, dilapidated houses in town. That list, that
the nuisance properties.
nuisance properties, thank you. One in particular that I am concerned with, once again, is Young's. The last several weeks that I've walked past there, it just reeks of gasoline to the point where I'm kind of concerned, like, where this gasoline smell is coming from.
Natural gas or carbon?
No, it is like gasoline, like fuel.
Is that something we could get involved in?
I don't know
Well,
if they're like storing gas somewhere and it just is like fuming, or if it's because they have so many vehicles piled up there.
Hey Deb, where?
I don't know,
That's-
but
and
it's
I
really
apologize,
strong.
that's That's one of mine, but where did we leave off on, one, the letters, and two, the inspection? And then I also think we were getting the attorney involved.
We got the attorney involved, but because it's winter, we're not gonna be able to do much because it's winter. Even if we take them to court, they're gonna say, it's winter, they won't be outside, they're not going to.
So we're thinking like March
So we started
before,
February for March.
Before they could actually take them to court.
And I think that's
right, that's what my concern is.
That's a big
They
thing
like
that
the
we have to relay to
Old
the
Town
community is that these aren't overnight fixes.
Mhm.
Because I've had a lot of concern about that as well, and that's what I've been telling them. Guys, you gotta realize that these are not overnight fixes, like, because this code has to go through the legal system, there's a lot of red tape involved.
Yeah, I think for me, mostly what I'm getting complaints about is it seems they're getting worse though. We understand there's not a lot you can do, but like a couple of the houses, and I tried not to pick on the Youngs, but the Youngs, I live up by them, I walk by their house every day. They have more vehicles there now than they did this summer. And so I'm like, okay, I get that the original problem wasn't getting fixed, but now it's getting worse instead of. So,
I would say call the building inspectors. Part of their responsibility is doing zoning inspections also. Have them come out. If you walk past it, you smell gasoline, which is a noxious fume. They should be able to come out, take a look at it, and file a report. We get the reports filed, and we turn them over to Gil. And yes, they may not be able to do anything until spring, but there's no reason why we cannot kickstart the enforcement process, because it's going to take 60 days anyway. So kickstart the enforcement process now so that when spring comes around, that it gets cleaned up right away.
and mostly the
town-
smell. I mean, I if they want junk vehicles, that's on them, but the smell worries me just for the fact that I don't know what's making it smell that way, and is it a danger to anybody? You know, if somebody lights a cigarette or a match or something, is like
The
there's gonna
town
be a
cleaned up
explosion.
a junkyard years ago from Stanley Russell,
I remember seeing.
and it took a couple years of concentrated effort, and we got got the authority to go in, move everything, and as a consequence, it's cleaned up. And it's stayed cleaned up because now it's city-owned, but it's cleaned up. And you said that if they want to have junk cars, they can have junk cars. No, the ordinance does not allow them to have junk cars. And if we want to change the ordinance so they can have junk cars, then we should do that. Otherwise, we should enforce the ordinance. Of course, what I've heard them say is that they're not junk, they all run. So,
That's,
Yeah,
that's
and
the
that is
pushback that I get.
that is the tricky thing, because I believe they probably, maybe they do run, maybe they don't, I don't know. But maybe they do run, but if you only have 2 people that live in the house, but you have 8 vehicles outside of your house, I mean, you can't drive that many vehicles in.
Do we have an ordinance that states how many cars you can have?
I don't
No,
know,
we
of
do
course not. No, so,
and I don't
that's
know,
my
I
thing,
don't know how you could do an ordinance like that.
right?
I mean, Jody and I, we used to have 3 vehicles because she would drive one to work, I would drive one to work, and then we had a pickup that we used to haul things around in.
Sure.
So 2 of us, 3 vehicles.
And I get that, but one extra, 2 extra even isn't a big deal, but 6 extra, that seems like an excessive amount.
And that's why we need to have it inspected by a third party and have the reports filed and turned over to the attorney. The question concerning dilapidated houses, we received a grant. And I don't know if anybody's done anything, so that,
Did we get the 40,000?
no, we
We
got,
only got-
what did we get, 15?
15, that's what, okay. We did get the 15 for sure. Okay.
But in order to do that, in order to use that 15, we have to have a program, right? And in order to have a program, we need to have somebody come in and help us set it up. Because if we were to just pick residents that are on our list of dilapidated houses, then I think we're going to get complaints from residents saying we're just giving the money to our friends. So I think we need to open it up, let people propose what they want to do, get an estimate, and then we're going to have to select ones based on some criteria, so that we could spend the 15,000.
I am emailing Greg right now to see if that's something we can help with on the newspaper.
Now it's either Greg or it's the guy from Micah or whatever.
But we shouldn't have to reinvent the wheel here. Somebody surely has a program in place that we can modify to our needs.
I know Collins bootstrapped this a few years ago. They had a council person go around and just kind of line up some.
Greg Schlieber, I believe.
Great.
Yeah. Maybe he'd like to come over and give us
That'd be
a.
awesome.
It's a good idea.
But
So it seems
at a
to be-
minimum, we should talk to Greg and see what problems he ran into. Because their solution may or may not work here. If it does work, great. We have a cookie cutter and we can cut a bunch of cookies. But we'll need to move on this fairly soon because that money needs to be spent.
Right. What is the deadline for that 15,000? Is it this spring? Do we have Summer.
It has to be all spent by September, I think.
September.
And there's program guidelines that, no one house can exceed like $10,000
Right, I remember that,
and
yeah.
a number of program guidelines.
Okay. Not to beat a dead horse here, but it seems like this council here, previous councils in previous years have gone through this whole thing. We get to a certain point where we do all the legwork, we go out, we do our job, we come back, we discuss it, we send it to attorneys, and we get hung up. We send it to inspectors, we get hung up. How do we stop the hang up? And I understand the red tape, I understand all those things, but other towns are handling these situations, are handling these problems, and I wonder
Are they?
where are we? I don't know.
I've attended, Doug's attended a number of meetings with the Economic Development Group, and quite frankly, one of the issues that comes up over and over again is dilapidated houses. And how do you move forward in getting everything fixed up? That's a common problem on all small towns.
Okay.
Yeah, ClerkNet, I have clerks all over Iowa that have the same problems.
That's not to mention that most of my nuisance properties on my list specifically have made drastic changes since last spring. I'll gladly talk about them and the changes that they've made and the progress that they've even done in the wintertime. But it seems like we just have this one, even if you have one on your list that just gives you, and that would be Young's for me, that just keeps coming back.
And
Yeah,
we've
gives
taken
forever.
them to court several times.
Yeah. Well, the problem is you
Well,
take them
they-
to court, they pay the fines, and then they keep doing the problems.
Or do they clean it up?
They clean it up for a short amount of
Temporarily?
time.
See, that's what I thought.
Right. They
Just
clean
like
it
the
up,
Conoco guy
they
did
pay the
for a
court
long time.
fines, and then they say,
Mhm.
"Meh, I'm gonna do it, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. And that's one of the problems.
Well, because he knows how long it takes us to get
Right.
back to the point
Right.
where we take him to court.
So we've got several months again. Yes.
I've got 9 months before they come knocking on my door and say we're going to court again. I'm just gonna let it go. That's
Yeah.
the frustrating
How-
thing.
How we solved Stanley Russell was we just kept at it, month after month, and finally got the court order to gave the city the authority to go in and remove the junk.
Wow.
And
Did the city condemn the property? Or is that?
no, we
No,
went
he
in,
left.
we removed the junk, and we put the lien on the property, which ended up making it so that we didn't condemn it, but the lien on the property was pretty substantial.
Greater than the value of the property.
And we
And
did
then
that with
Stanley
the
left.
Conoco.
What'd you say?
We did that with the Conoco.
Yeah.
We got the court order to go in and clean it out.
And it's stayed pretty clean.
So if we keep, say, if we were to keep on any nuisance property, that's what happens. If we were to keep on it month by month by month, that is how you potentially clean up
Yep.
houses under your control and not the homeowners.
And it has to be egregious enough so that the judge will look at it and say, yes, this is a problem.
Okay.
Can't be, gee, they have peeling paint.
Right.
Yes.
Or weeds in their flower bed.
No, we're talking
Or
about
dead
a
roses in their
smell
flower
of
bed.
LP fuel, gasoline, whatever.
It's gas.
And there's a
Which
number
means
of
that there was a spill, and, so, yeah.
Continuous leak if you're smelling it.
continuously
Right.
somewhere.
Or
That's a bigger, I mean,
Yeah,
water.
that's- take 2 gallons of gasoline and dump it on the ground, and you're gonna smell it for a month.
Especially this time of year where it's not evaporating, it's not
Yeah.
hot enough that it's
Yep.
evaporating out, yeah.
So it could be just a minor spill, or it
Right.
could be more.
I just hope they're not like heating their house somehow with it, but that was my main concern. That was a concern. Okay, I don't have anything else.
No. Well, let me stay with the same kind of a concept. Gil sent us a letter back saying, here's what we would have to do if we want to have the semi, to prove that the semi is illegally parked. Tell me to get off of it, quit taking pictures and doing things, or we've started a process following through that too. We had to prove that the road had markings that said it's too heavy. We had to prove that the driver was the one putting it on his property. We had to prove the company. Gil gave us several options, but it's all going to be costly. Is that worth pursuing, or tell me to forget it? I guess it's kind of where I am on that topic. I think it's illegal by city ordinance. We need to change the ordinances and make it more liberal. I don't know if that's where I want to go, but it's a
Is
concern.
that one any different?
No, if there's one down there in a different spot, same thing.
Broadway and First,
No, if it's
or
not, it's
Broadway
identical.
and
I
Maxwell.
don't go by that one 4 times a day like I do this one. I don't know. I'm tired.
Who's on the south side of the street there at Broadway and Maxwell Street? On the southwest corner.
Mansfield,
Huh?
Mansfield,
Oh, man, Royal.
Royal.
Yeah,
Royal.
that's Royal. He has a semi too?
yeah. He drives.
Parks it there on the north side of his
I've
house.
Never noticed that. I come right up that road.
It's right there.
I didn't even know he lived there.
Oh, yeah. That's where his parents,
Oh, yeah.
that's where he grew
So
up.
that was one concern, very
No,
similar
that's where his
to the
grandparents
houses.
lived.
And
I knew it was somebody. Yeah.
if it's more than
So
one
he grew
spot,
up
it
in the White House?
certainly would need to
He
be
grew up
consistent.
on Main.
But what to do?
And Gil has given us a list that we need to do. Can we accomplish the things on the list?
I think too, I think we gotta outweigh the pros and cons as well to doing that.
Agreed.
As well as how many official city plans have we got on each of those. Semis.
I just have a question too. So is it because they're driving on the roads to get to their properties and park them on their properties? Or is it because they're actually parking it on their property? Has got us.
They're both parked on the street.
Parked on the street.
Okay.
And yes, that means they have to drive somehow to the property in order to park on the street.
Off of the truck route.
And how much of a, a problem is that for the type of streets that we have? That sounds like an engineering
An
question.
It
engineering
would be,
question.
it'd be a
indeed.
transportation engineering question. I'll
Oh.
follow up with that.
Do
Yeah.
we know if the weight of the semi is okay for our streets?
Any semi is going to be heavier than an empty semi with tractor and trailer. It's heavier than what our ordinance
Or it
says.
says 810, I think.
From an engineering perspective, it's weight plus trips. So they call it equivalent axle or equivalent axle ESLs. ESL is the word for it, the equivalent sound axle or something like that, standard load or something. But it factors in the weight plus the number of trips. So if you have one truck that's every once a year, it's not going to be the same damage as if you have one truck every 30 minutes. If that makes sense.
Right.
So from an engineering perspective, go down to now that's not how your ordinance is read, I don't think. So it may not
Right.
translate directly, but just for your
And
consideration.
you said truck plus trailer
And Darren's is
Exceeded.
always just a cab.
Trailer sometimes too.
I've never
Yeah,
seen his trailer.
Flatbed.
I've definitely seen his cabs parked there, but I've never seen his trailer.
So without the trailer, he would be under our ordinance weight.
It'd be close.
I think you've got a lot of factors that play into it, finding out how much his truck weighs with a trailer, without a trailer. Loaded. I hope he's not coming
It's
to
empty.
town.
Loaded.
The flatbed's empty. Just,
And what
I,
about Royals? Is his truck and trailer?
Have we ever asked the owner of the trucks or driver, do they have somewhere else that they can park it? Or is it an issue for them that they have nowhere else to store this truck?
I don't have an answer.
Okay, what if the answer is, no, they do not? Then
Exactly. They don't have it, so they have to drive it home. Guess it wouldn't matter, it's just my heart being,
Just questions we have. I don't know.
you,
We just want to
a
know.
woman heart, okay, I just wanna know if they have somewhere else to go. Okay, so if they,
Someone has said that Plunkett's would allow them to park down. That's what somebody said.
I mean, I know
Plunkett
how,
does have occasional semi-parking.
I
And
know,
would they need the full semi park down there? If they're underweight, they can drop the trailer off.
Yeah, take the cab home.
Or can you park on the side of Main Street for over 24 hours? Because what's to stop somebody from unloading their trailer on Main Street, leaving there on the
Parking
side? of Main
The
Street?
ordinance,
Is it?
All right, well, I don't have an answer, but that's been an ongoing issue.
Well,
And I'm hearing from some
do
neighbors.
we
too.
want to,
What do we want to do?
have, Wes's people take a look at the locations and the route to them to give us an opinion as to whether or not there's, damage, to the road? Because if there's damage to the road, then we should be pursuing it. And if it's just damned inconvenient, then maybe we should be looking at a change in the ordinance.
I would too, if you have neighbors talking about it, make sure that they put in official complaints with the city as well.
I'm sure that the one on Broad, he's gone out there and improved, the parking there, put in a good base, and you're going from Main Street over one block, how he gets, and Maxwell Street at one time was a truck route because the elevator, was there and all the, grain transport went down that road. So if he's just parking there and then going around the block and out again, yeah, that one's probably not too bad. I don't know anything about the other one as far as the road condition is concerned.
Is he
It's further
Maxwell
into a
Street or is
residential
he
area.
Metcalf? He's on that.
So do we want, at least to get a report, find out, how serious the problem is?
And Metcalf is not a truck route,
Nope.
then we should.
I don't think Maxwell's a truck route anymore either.
Then we shouldn't be allowing the school also to be getting.
Ooh, buses. Can they be big? Well, or
But they have
delivery
business there.
service.
The ordinance says if you have business there, you do your business. And then they park, you're right.
Well, I don't think school buses is heavy as.
I'm talking about the, like.
Actual, like,
Food trucks,
yeah,
the
Oh,
delivery
they
semi-
can make deliveries.
They can make deliveries
Yeah.
off the truck route.
well, if we already know that they're overweight, if we find out that they're overweight, what's the point of going out and finding out if the road's kind of being wear and tear because of the truck? If they're overweight and out of the ordinance, why don't we just enforce the ordinance?
And that takes us back to what we always said. And what what does Gil say he needs in order to
Okay. Which are, were those A, B, C, D, E, F, G,
There were half a dozen things, yeah.
which would cost money, is that right?
Changing ordinances would be part of it. Putting up signs, confirming that the driver's there with video, he said.
It's hard to do that in a very small town.
It is.
Well, Jameson's been wanting to get video cameras.
What happened to trail cameras from the parks?
They're working now. Gotta get new ones. What else you got, Doug?
The other thing is, when we get ready to approve the minutes from last time, one of our items was to confirm with Tim Peters, who has the mowing contract, that
Oh,
he
yeah.
understands exactly what is entailed in the bid, and has that happened, or just, so we're good with that then, okay? That was the other question I had. Thank you.
Kenyon, where you at the beach?
I'm down at the beach.
What do you got for us?
Just busy, so I have nothing. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Happy birthday, Ken.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Yep.
What I got, if you couldn't tell, the sirens are now up and running. You can hear them all the way in Elkhart.
Maybe.
Tell some big news, otherwise you can say.
Yep.
Did you
I
hear
probably
him
should.
at your
They
house?
weren't as loud as I thought they'd be, but yes, we can hear them.
They put them on a higher pole,
Is that the
so the
difference?
further out that you get, the louder
All right.
they get.
I take it that they went off.
They went off Friday,
Uh,
and then tested them, and then Sunday they went off again, and I confirmed it on my cameras on my house. Boy, they flew out. And you can hear them both, at least from my house. You can hear one start turning, and then the other one starts coming in and turning
Do we
around.
just have the two? I thought we had three.
We have the one at the school, but the one at the school still doesn't work.
Okay, okay.
And then we do still have one at the sewer lagoons that we're just gonna do about the let run.
You mean like you have to go and turn that one on too? No.
So
So we have four then.
We have four.
Okay.
The most sirens per capita in the state of Ohio.
Really?
Only two
Even
of
like Ankeny and them?
Per
You'd
capita.
be way-
Okay. I was gonna say, wait a second. I'm guessing they have a lot more than that.
And the other thing, I just want to say, I think we're doing a great thing by right now, just looking into moving the city hall as well. I think one, we get another opportunity to have another space that we can possibly rent out to other organizations if they want it and such. Smaller area, plus it helps the library out in a big way as well. So more to come on that. Hopefully, could be in there within the next 3 to 4 months. Set time.
Hey, Doug, we did not answer your question, and if it were me, I would just let it go, and here's my reason for that. Until we get, I think it would help if we had more documentation behind this complaints with papers, with other things, just besides one council member. I think it would help. Now, do I think it's right? No. Do I think it's aesthetically pleasing? No. But I think we're gonna be barking up
That's what I need to hear.
quite the tree if we continue to pursue something like that.
I have trouble ignoring ordinances.
I know that. Well, we talk about the nuisance property and the nuisance ordinances, and we're
Yes.
trying to push that
And
along.
that's been on.
I get it.
And that's ongoing too, yeah.
I get it.
Nope,
Before
that's
I
what I
was
wanted to
even
hear.
on council.
Not what I wanted to hear, what I needed.
No, it's what, well, yes.
All right, what do we have left? Consent agenda.
And everyone but Megan can vote on all the items. She cannot vote on B.
Okay.
So I move approval of the consent agenda, items A and C.
Moved by Steve,
Second.
Second by Lauren. Discussion. Hearing none. Steve,
Yes,
Lauren,
Yes.
do I say Megan? Did she have
No.
something to say?
no, well, yeah. you
Yeah,
should-
because I'm A and
Megan,
C. You're
yeah.
just talking about A and
Megan.
C. Yes.
Well, no, this is,
Right?
yeah, A and
Yeah,
C,
yeah,
and you,
yeah, she's
yeah.
next.
I was
Vote on
on
those.
A and C.
Yeah.
I just was
Doug,
on B.
Yes.
Ken,
Yeah.
perfect.
move approval of B.
Motion made by Steve,
Second.
seconded by Doug. Discussion. Hearing none. Steve,
Yes,
Lauren,
Yes.
and you should call on.
Call on her, she said abstain.
Doug,
Yes.
Ken.
Yeah.
All right. There's
Yeah.
one item left.
I moved to adjourn.
Move to adjourn by Megan.
Second.
Oh. I'm gonna give it to Ken.
Give it to Ken.
Since this is
So happy with him.
Yes.
Lauren,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
that is adjourned. All right, you can press stop on the live video.
Right.